Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Taya and this is Okanda, my Canada Core island. If my shirt looks familiar and my character looks the same, it's because it's the same day that we hunted for Hans. Hans is still literally in boxes moving in. And I am so excited to start on the mountain area, the Rocky Mountains area. I just can't help myself. I've been kind of prepping the area. I put in an incline down here. I've extended it out quite a lot. Now it takes up quite a lot more space than it did before. I want to do the rock garden up here, and I've just been letting rocks spawn wherever they want to, and 4 of them have made their way up here. So I probably am not going to destroy this one, and I might not destroy that one, but maybe we'll make like some kind of a rock garden feature kind of snaking up this way. I'm not doing the rock garden today though. I just want to get things planned out. So I started to plan it out more and then I was like, stop Taya, because you're getting way too ahead of yourself. So what I did was, this is going to be where the next incline will come up, as the campsite is right down there. I think I might move the campsite over just a smidge. Anyways, there'll be an incline coming up here, and then you'll have to like make your way through the mountains, and you can come down to this incline here. But there will be another incline that I'm gonna tuck around here somewhere so that you can get up to the 3rd level. So anyways, yeah, I'm gonna do some terraforming, some planning out. We will probably move Hans's house, we'll get that incline set up, and then maybe we'll make the hot springs area, but we'll see how much I can get done. This is just a planning kind of video, but I didn't want to get too far ahead without showing you guys, so I turned the camera on, and we will see where we can get today with this. So for today's video, we have 6 distinct sections for this build. So we start off with some terraforming, then we do pathing in trees, and then go from there. I even do a 4th level glitch, so if you're interested in that, stay tuned, because that is a really cool part of this build that I knew I wanted to include from the beginning, was to have a 4th level area behind Hans's house. But this initial terraforming part took a long time because I already had the 2nd level built up, but I needed to create some of the more dynamic mountainous feeling areas, and I am super happy with the way that they turned out, especially this little area. This is where I'm going to be putting the other incline up, and I just kind of carved out like a little nook in the side of the mountain so that you can have like almost a secret kind of passageway that's not as obvious. So I'm really happy with the way that that came out. Originally, I thought I wanted to have this like log pathway, you know, like a land bridge connecting, but that did not end up working out because it was just too limited in the space, and I want to fit a lot of different builds up here. The only build that we actually complete today is the hot springs. I do a little bit of work around Hans's house, and I kind of prep for the rock garden in the future, but we don't actually complete those things just yet. And a lot of this terraforming actually changes as I go along. So we are going to skip forward, and I'm just going to show you a map before and after so you can see what I've done. Let's jump way ahead. So as you can now see, it is dark out, and I am just completing some of the water terraforming near the hot springs area on this build. It turned out so cute in the end, and it's a very, very small waterfall just to give some water sounds and a little bit more texture to that little area. So we're just completing off on that, and then I'm going to do kind of a little run around so that you can see, and then I will show you the map. And originally I thought I wanted the incline right over there where I just used the ladder up, but I end up switching it on the next day, and I've kind of got a little section outlined where I'd like Hans's house to go, but that ends up changing slightly as well. So let's look at the map. You can see we have no third level, and then afterwards we have some third level and a little area marked out for Hans's house, as well as just this smidge of water terraforming. So let's go to the next day.
The next day.
And before we carry on with the pathing, I just needed to mark out where I wanted the incline and where I wanted Hans's house to go. So first we're just filling in that section where I wanted the incline originally, and then I'm already starting it with pathing. So I am going in with the sand pathing underneath everything, the in-game path. And then over top, I'm going to layer a snowy custom design. And I had removed these custom designs from my 100 slots that I have available because I wasn't sure if I would actually use them. And I'm really glad that Hans showed up when he did, because I almost removed the snowy path entirely from my designs. And I don't think this area would look even a quarter as good as it did with the sand custom design. So originally I thought that I could just cover the whole thing in white and that it would look perfectly fine. But then I was thinking, how am I going to add trees? How am I going to add shrubs over top of this? What if I want to layer in like a stone pathway? It's not going to work. So I took this log design that I had been saving. I hadn't used this log design anywhere on my island yet, and I sacrificed it for the good of getting my full 9 tiles of snowy path back. So we got that all back and it looks so amazing. I'm so happy with how this snow path makes this area look, and I really enjoy the sand path underneath because the grass is very busy and the sand just adds that more of a tundra kind of feeling, if that makes sense. I think it just looks a little more wintry with the beigey sand underneath versus the grass. So yeah, I'm kind of doing this thing, and you'll see me do this quite often. I add a tree and then I kind of hug the custom designs around it. So I'm just going to fast forward to when I have this area a little bit more built out with all the pathing, and you can kind of see the direction that I'm going with adding the paths around the trees. So there it is. It's all snapped into perfection. However, I do time travel quite a lot in this video to get the trees grown into different heights. I love the way it turns out with multiple different heights of trees everywhere. It just looks so cute. But yeah, I end up having to change the custom paths quite a lot to accommodate for little saplings to stunt trees. It's a process. It was definitely a long recording session. I think it was about 5 hours of recording to get this video out. But I mean, I knew what I was getting myself into when I said I was building a Rocky Mountains. I knew it wasn't just going to be like an hour-long build. This was a definite undertaking, that's for sure. Overall, this area was so refreshing to work on because I've been working on Papagayo with a more jungly vibe, and then I've really been focused on the first half of building this island, Okanda, which is Canada Core. I've really been focused on more of the city areas of Okanda and the built up kind of environment, Whereas working on something that's more natural, especially something that kind of has a wintry mountain vibe, was totally different. And I mean, if you're getting a little bit tired of your theme, that is something that I'm really considering for my next islands, is having a multi-themed island so that you can explore a bunch of different creative pursuits on one island. I mean, the only downside to that is that custom designs are limited. So, and I can't believe it. Can you even believe that we have 100 custom designs and we're still talking about being limited with custom designs? Like, 1 year ago us would have been like dying to have 100, and 100 is amazing. Every time I talk about this, I'm like, you're complaining about stupid things, but still, if we had 200 custom designs, we would all fill them all in like a day. I just know we would. Anyways, long story short is that I'm really feeling refreshed and rejuvenated after building this area, because it was so fun to create an area on my island that still feels like Okanda, but it's a totally different vibe. It's definitely got that mountain feeling, especially with this cobblestone path that I'm laying down now. That added so much. And actually the sand in-game pathing really helped me to add this area in as well, because when a custom design has a transparent path, it will actually display in a slightly different shade, and it will represent the shade that it's on top of. So if you have, for example, the stone custom in-game pathing and you put on top a transparent pixeled path, it will show up darker than if you put it on top of the light dirt pathing, for example. So that's how you can kind of make your custom designs even look slightly different by putting them on top of different in-game pathing, which is a really neat trick. But with the sand custom design, it's so light, it doesn't change the color of it very much at all. It kind of lets it show true completely, which is another reason why I really like using the sand custom pathing. That was a really long explanation. In the meantime, we've finished off a lot of this kind of melding between the stone pathway and the snow pathway, which I just think is like perfect for the Rocky Mountains. Like, it just feels like you're on a hiking trail through the mountains, which I love the feel of. And we've got another incline going up. I did not gather as much bells as I needed for this incline, which I only realized when I went to go and talk to him. So I went and collected some more money, was able to pay Lloyd, and we're going to put Hans's house, which I decided that I wanted it to hug on this left-hand side. I always put down some light dirt pathway to mark out where my villager houses are going before I put them down, even though sometimes it doesn't work, as in my East Coast speed build, it did not work and I had to place Claude's house like 7 times. No, it wasn't 7, it was like 3, but it was annoying. Anyways, now we are adding in the pathway in front of Hans's house, and I don't do too much in front of Hans's house in this build, but I do add in the trees to get them stunted the way that I want, and I do add in some of that snowy pathway and that cobblestone pathway just to get it kind of marked out the way that I want, get the trees in there, and just finishing off some of these smaller detail areas. This is just up from the hot springs.
The next day.
It's tree growing time. So we've noticed that a little tree decided not to grow too close to the cliff, and this is kind of the way it's going to go for the next little bit in this build. Is I'm trying to get all of the trees grown in exactly the way that I want. Definitely in the future, if I'm planning a large build like this, I will just think ahead and stunt some trees in another area of my island so that I'm ready to go and I just have a bunch of different trees stunted at different levels. I would definitely say to maybe do like 10 trees stunted at each different phase. That seems excessive. Maybe 5 to start, and then you at least know the sizing of them and you can just time travel and stunt them at the different sizes very effectively. But doing it this way was incredibly time consuming, and in this first day when they're just a 1-day-old tree, I stunted way too many of them. So you'll see in the following days I actually unstunt some trees so that they're not all super small, but I had no clue, and it's safer to stunt them and then change your mind about it than to not have stunted them and to have to plant a whole new tree and go back a day with them. But Hans was just walked around with this little basket, which was so incredibly adorable. I just love seeing him on the island. It's so cool. Villager hunting sucks. Personally, that's my personal opinion, but then once you have the villager on your island, it all feels just like so worth it, and it's just so fun. And as I said at the beginning of the video, I needed to move the campsite over, so I did put it near my little Canada Day party area, picnic spot. And then I placed the other incline, which I love having inclines that face towards the back of the island. I think they just look so cool. I also love that it hides the entrance up to Hans's house somewhat because it is a little bit hidden from the rest of the mountain area.
The next day.
So we're on to day 2 of stunting trees, and I think it's pretty clear. I will just be going through and stunting some more, and then going to the next day and stunting some more, and going to the next day and stunting some more, and unstunting them and changing the pathway. So we're just going to skip forward to the point where I have all the trees in a nice place on day 4.
A few moments later.
So here we are on day 4 of all of the trees growing, doing our usual custom path adjustments so that we can put our saplings in, and we will be on to bigger and better things, and we'll be moving up a level, if you know what I mean. Oh my gosh, that was terrible. I'm sorry. But I do end up removing, like I've said before, I ended up removing a lot of these stunting so that I could let them grow one more day. So we're kind of adjusting that a little bit more as well. And I love the mix of bushes. I put a lot of different species of bushes all around, and it just adds to the kind of wilderness feeling, I think. I mean, even in the future, I'm probably going to go in and add a lot more bushes, but this was just an original, kind of like a planning phase, and we will build on it from there. But we are on to part 4. To anyone who is interested in doing the 4th level glitch, there are awesome tutorials out there. I literally searched 4th level glitch ACNH and watched the first video that I found, and it was excellent. It did take me a few tries on this first go around. I was like ecstatic when I finally got up there. I was like, yeah, I did it! It was actually so easy. However, I realized when I got up there, as you're seeing right now, that you can't lay down custom paths or in-game paths, so that was a little bit of a bummer. I didn't really fully realize that you couldn't do that, so there, now you know. But I wasn't able to add any of that down, and when I got up here, I thought I had a full stack of cedar saplings, but I only had 4. So... and then I had one that was like planted already that I had picked up. So I had 4 cedar saplings to work with, or 5. Anyways, I did definitely not bring up enough, so I had to climb back down, but the second time that I went to go and get up onto the cliff, it was way faster. And then I even tried to get up there a third time, and I was able to get up there on the first try. So it's definitely something that you kind of get used to as you're doing it more often. So I made this like little entryway. This is actually an area of the cliff that I end up demolishing after I'm done with the 4th level glitch. So it doesn't really matter what that little bump out looks like, it will be removed eventually. Went and got some more cedar saplings from Nook's Cranny, and then we're back with the rest of the decorating here. So I just went very simple. I do put some rocks up here, some tree and mountain standees, which is something that I want to add more of in this area, especially the areas that I can't put trees in. So I didn't add as many as I thought that I would on the hot springs area, but that's just because it was a little bit limited in the space that I had in that hot springs. But the way that I'm decorating up here is kind of the way that my Rocky Mountains will be decorated in the end fully, I think. I think this glitch might be my new favorite though. It was actually super simple to get up here, not a big deal at all. I really built it up in my head. I knew that I wanted to do the 4th level glitch, and it was taking me like so long to work myself up to doing it in this build. And I was telling my husband like, oh, I'm really nervous about doing it. I don't know like how I do it. I've never done it before. And he was like, just do it. Like just go for it. And I did, and I was able to get up there super quickly, so I was like, why was I making such a big deal of it? I should have just done it, like, earlier. But anyways, here we are, and I finally did do it. Anyways, I highly recommend it. It was super fun, and I felt kind of like I was cheating the system, which is always a fun thing to... which is always a fun experience. So we're just adding the final touches up here, and then we'll go down and go on to part 5, which is building out the actual hot springs area, and I'm super excited to show you how that turned out because it is so relaxing and calming. I just want to be there like all day long. So of course I'm using the outdoor baths, which sound so relaxing, especially with the small amount of water terraforming that I have in the back there. Just the steam and the water terraforming, it's just so relaxing to me literally all day. If I could spend all day and anywhere on Okanda, I would spend it right here in these hot springs. Maybe I should make like another glitched area so that you can actually get into one of the hot springs. That's like next level. I don't know if I'm quite at that point yet, but maybe I'll get adventurous and we'll do that glitch so that I can like, you can actually sit down in the hot springs. We'll see. We'll see. One thing at a time here. I just did my first 4th level glitch. I gotta take it one step at a time here, guys. And these trees on the left-hand side, really, this whole area actually, I forget how difficult it can be to work in very small spaces. And this was definitely one of those instances where I moved the items around a lot, trying to figure out exactly where I wanted them. So I'm skipping over some of that because it was a little bit tedious, but we do get there, and I'm really happy with how this comes together. See, we're just removing everything. Maybe I only want one bath. I don't know. No, you don't. You want two. But the trees on this side actually gave me a bit of a hard time because I wanted them to be covering part of the bath, but I didn't want them to cover too much of it. So I had to basically redo all of that snowy pathway, and I think I'm almost to the point where I'm happy with it. One more bush down here, yes, and then that is the way that I am leaving it. For now, at least. I mean, I always say that I give myself permission to like go back and change it if I want, but I never really do. Once I'm finished with a build, it always feels so much more like in the moment, you're like, I'll change that eventually. And then after you live with it for a little while, it's all good. Happy with it. So I'm just gonna put in a little mountain standee and a garden stone, and then we're gonna go forward to the next day for our final touches and the reveal.
The next day.
Thank you so much for watching today, everyone. If you're not subscribed already, I do post Animal Crossing content 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern if you're interested. And I will just leave you to the final shots of this beautiful hot springs build. I hope you all have a lovely day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.